the Bonneville Salt Flats, an endless white stage where machines become myths. In September 1947, a man climbed into the Railton Mobil. His speed was so unreal that people wondered if the numbers were a mistake. But they weren't. John Cobb had just become the fastest man alive. Before the speed, you need the man. Who was John Cobb? John Cobb was a quiet, serious, and focused man who treated speed as a science. Born in 1899 in Surrey, England, he had a passion for machines, and by the 1920s, he was already racing at Brooklands, Britain's legendary banked racetrack. Cobb's style was calm and precise. He was known for a cool head at speeds that made other drivers panic. And later in the 1930s, he had already set speed records that made him a household name in Britain and one of the top racers in the world. Then the Second World War came, which put his dreams on hold. The racing engines went silent, replaced by the roar of fighter planes. Cobb served during the war, but as soon as it ended, he knew exactly what he wanted. He was to return to the salt and chase the one number no one had ever reached, 400 miles per hour. But to hit those records, Cobb needed the perfect machine, the Railton Mobil Special, a car so advanced it looked like it came from the future. It was designed by Railton, one of the greatest engineers of the era, who had already built Bluebird, a record breaker for Sir Malcolm Campbell. The Railton was nearly 28 feet long, longer than most limousines, with a body shaped like a silver bullet. Its skin was made of lightweight aluminum panels, hand-formed to be as smooth as possible, so the air would flow over it without lifting the car off the salt. A rare level of aerodynamic thinking in the 1930s. Underneath that sleek body, the real secret was hidden: 2 Napier Lion airplane engines. Each was a 12-cylinder, 23-liter V engine. Together, they produce over 2,500 horsepower. Every part of the car was built to survive. The tires had to hold together at speeds near 400 miles per hour. The cockpit was so tight that Cobb could barely move, sitting low with his arms stretched straight to the wheel. When he hit full power, the car would vibrate and shake. The Railton Mobil Special wasn't just a car, it was a hand-built missile on wheels. It combined airplane power, race car handling, and futuristic design into a single, terrifying machine. And Cobb was ready to point it straight down the long white runway of Bonneville and see how far human courage and engineering could go. Before 1947, John Cobb had already made history on the salt. In his first major attempt at Bonneville in 1938, Cobb lined up the Railton Mobil Special, dropped the throttle, and thundered across the Bonneville Flats, a perfect surface for speed. On that first run, Cobb pushed the Railton Mobil Special to over 350 miles per hour. Cobb had just become the fastest man on Earth, but he was not satisfied. A year later, he and his team came back stronger and smarter. They tuned the engines, shaved weight, and made the car even more aerodynamic. This time, when Cobb made his run, the car seemed to float across the salt, roaring to nearly 370 miles per hour. He had broken his own record and pulled even further ahead of everyone else. Then came the war. The world stopped chasing speed and started fighting battles. Cobb's car was stored away. He believed the car could go even faster. He could be the first man to reach 400 miles per hour. When the war finally ended, Cobb returned to Bonneville as a veteran determined to finish what he had started. On September 16, 1947, John Cobb stepped out of his tent and stared at the white horizon. This time, he aimed to push beyond the unthinkable, 400 miles per hour. His crew gathered around the Railton Mobil Special. The car looked like a silver bullet with 2 massive Napier Lion engines waiting to roar. Mechanics checked every bolt and wire. When everything was ready, Cobb climbed into the cockpit. He put on his helmet, pulled down his goggles, and nodded to his crew. The engines came to life with a deep growl that echoed across the flat land. At 10 a.m., Cobb launched the Railton down the salt, wheels skimming the salt. The first pass clocked 385 miles per hour, blistering fast, but still short of the record. Cobb took a deep breath and pushed the Railton faster than before, the engines roaring, tires gripping with violent precision, and vibrations shaking the cockpit. Then this happened. the car reached over 400 miles per hour. When the numbers came back, the average speed was 394.19 miles per hour. Cobb had done it faster than any human before him. 400 miles per hour on pistons. Insane, right? If that made your jaw drop, click subscribe. And don't worry, it's way safer than hitting that speed. When John Cobb stepped out of the Railton after his historic run, reporters rushed to him, cameras clicked, and newspapers around the globe called him the fastest man alive. His official average speed of 394.19 miles per hour stayed there for almost 16 years. This record was special for another reason. It was the last great record set by a piston-engine car. Soon, jet power and rocket power would take over the salt flats. But Cobb's Railton Mobil Special was proof that a well-built machine with two giant engines could still be king of speed. Engineers studied the Railton for years. Its design inspired later record cars, including those that broke the 400 miles per hour barrier. But many fans still call Cobb's run the true golden moment of land speed racing. Bonneville itself became a place of pilgrimage. Racers from all over the world came to chase his record, to test themselves against the ghost of John Cobb. His record marked the end of an era, but it also opened the door to a new one. It showed that 400 miles per hour was no longer a dream. It was possible, and once Cobb proved it, others knew they had to go even faster. In 1952, John Cobb arrived at Scotland's Loch Ness to set another record, this time on water. He came here with a new machine, the Crusader. It was a sleek hydroplane built to slice across the surface of the water. The goal was simple but deadly: break the world water speed record by going over 200 miles per hour. But water at such a velocity is unpredictable. Even a small ripple or wave could spell disaster. But Cobb, calm and methodical as always, climbed into the tight cockpit with the same concentration that had propelled him to nearly 400 miles per hour on Bonneville. Locals gathered to watch. Reporters set up cameras. The Crusader roared to life and began its run. At first, everything looked smooth. The boat skimmed across the dark surface of Loch Ness, throwing a white spray behind it. Then, just seconds from finishing the run, tragedy struck. At nearly 200 miles per hour, the Crusader hit a wave in the water. The boat lost balance, broke apart, and crashed violently. Cobb was killed instantly. It was the end of John Cobb's final record attempt, and the end of a man who had lived his life chasing the impossible. Cobb's final run revealed that his passion was not for fame, nor for glory alone. It was for discovery, precision, and the relentless pursuit of progress. He understood the risks, yet accepted them in the name of exploration. His life and his death serve as a powerful reminder that greatness often comes with sacrifice. Now Bonneville is silent. The wind sweeps across the salt flats, erasing every trace of what happened here decades ago. But if you stand there long enough, you can almost hear it, the distant roar of engines, the ghost of the Railton flying past at nearly 400 miles per hour. Cobb's run was more than a record. It was a message. It proved that human focus, skill, and courage could take a machine to the very edge of possibility and bring it back safely. He didn't race for fame or shout for cameras. He simply got in the car, did his job, and let the numbers speak for him. That quiet determination is why his name still matters today. The Railton Mobil Special itself has become a symbol of an era. Now it rests in a museum, polished and still. But it isn't just a display piece. It's a reminder of a time when breaking 400 miles per hour seemed like touching the stars. From John Cobb's 403 miles per hour blast across Bonneville to the engineering brilliance of the Railton Mobil Special, we've just relived a record that changed the history of speed forever. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which moment grabbed you the most? The thundering run, the struggle to build the car, or the courage it took to step back into that cockpit after the war? Drop your pick in the comments and stay extreme. Thanks for sticking with me, and if you want more stories of speed and legends like this, hit subscribe, smash like, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next wild record.